For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. This is one family's story.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of
Love and Cannabis.
I am Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we are the proud parents of Aiden. Hey everyone, this episode is just me without Osiris. It's a little strange without him being here. But I'm here to kind of talk on my perspective, being a cannabis mom, and kind of talk about my feelings and what I went through having a child with a very severe seizure disorder. So listening to Osiris's episode, as a man, being a black man, for him to really, so to speak, really speak about his feelings and to kind of really say his perspective was pretty moving. And of course I cried, because sometimes when you are married, you always don't know what your partner is feeling, especially during hard times. And sometimes you may think that, are they even feeling what you're feeling, or is this just you going through it alone? So it was really nice to hear what he was going through. He did a great job. So when, just in general, when Aiden having epilepsy and having delays, particularly in his speech, as a mom, being that I carried him, I always, and still go through this, I feel like I did something wrong. Like, this is like my fault. Maybe if I took a better prenatal vitamin, or took a little bit more fish oil, or that this wouldn't happen. Or maybe if I ate more calories, or I just like so many different things, I'm still dealing with it. Sometimes I blame myself for this, is that if I did something differently, then his outcome would be different. I live in Harlem, so sometimes I think, living in inner city with the pollution, that could have been a trigger. Maybe not. I'm still dealing with this. I worked in a hospital at the time when he was, when I was pregnant. And I said, hospitals are pretty, in terms of germs and bacteria and just like sanitary area, it's not really that clean. So I'm like, sometimes I say to myself, if I ever get pregnant again, I'm moving out of Harlem and I will never work at a hospital pregnant again. Just like all these things that go through my head, blaming myself for his condition. Because I see, say we go to the playground or I see him in school, and, Aiden does know that he's different from kids his age, particularly in his speech. So he feels it, he sees it, and that breaks my heart, of course. And to think that is something that I did or didn't do, it really hurts. It does, that if I did something differently, that maybe he wouldn't have these delays and would feel very comfortable with his peers. Because right now, he knows that his speech is not, and language is not the same as the 6-year-olds in his class, or, 6-year-olds that he plays with in the playground. So what he does is that he just becomes silent. He'll gesture, or he'll laugh with them, or do nonverbal communication, but he wouldn't talk like the way he'll talk to me or his father. And I'm like, why? So that definitely takes a toll on me, to think that, if I did anything different, that maybe he would feel more comfortable around his peers. And I know deep down, maybe I could have done everything perfectly and the outcome would have been the same. You know the story of the mom that drank and smoked throughout their whole pregnancy, and the baby's perfectly normal, no delays, grow up to be perfectly healthy. And the mother was, not as mindful during the pregnancy. I'm just saying this too because I know I can't be the only one out there thinking this. Even if your child has like any type of childhood illness, I'm sure moms probably think, if I did something differently during the bearing years, then that time maybe the outcome would have been different. I don't know. I go back and forth with this all the time. But that being said, I am very grateful because I know things could have been worse when it comes to Aiden. So Aiden right now, tomorrow he's starting kindergarten for the second time. So that was another thing. So he's going to kindergarten and he's doing it again. We were very proud of him the first year in kindergarten. But we still think, and his teachers think, that there are some things that he needs to fine tune and really master for him to go to first grade. And I'm really happy about that. Aiden's disability is not as severe as most kids. So he's in a classroom that has a mix of kids with disabilities and kids who are typically developing. They call that ICT. It's called Integrated Co-Teaching. Pretty popular in the New York City DOE. And, he doesn't need to be in a special classroom with only special ed kids because his disability isn't that severe. So I'm pretty grateful and blessed for that. So when the days where I do feel down that, maybe it was my fault, I do realize that, I'm blessed for him not to be as severe as other kids. That being said, when it comes to a child with disability, just to never give up and never take maybe what the school psychologist or the doctor says about your child. There's always hope. And also that's what the CBD has kind of give us hope, because we see so many gains daily that is really amazing. For example, for Aiden, with a child that had so many seizures, particularly when he was 2 and 3 years old, you wouldn't think that he'll be doing what he's doing. And me and Osiris, we never give up, and we do not let other people teach Aiden only. So, for example, his teachers, he's in school, but we always researching things for him to help him learn. We never give up on him, and we never say, oh, he's with his teachers, they'll teach him. He's with his OT, he'll teach him. No, we are his first teachers. So we take total responsibility for his education. So when he was in kindergarten, when he got to kindergarten, he knew most of his capital letters, but they were introducing sounds. From a young age, I realized that Aiden learned through movement. So I spoke to other speech therapists, and there was a program that incorporated movement with letter sounds. Just instinctively, I knew this was going to be a great program for Aiden. So I started teaching him his letter sounds through movement. So if it was a, ba, there was always a movement associated with the sound. And let me tell you, he picked up all his sounds very quickly and mastered them very quickly. And I did it through repetition, constant repetition in the bathroom, in the taxi cab. I know kids with disabilities need a lot of repetition, more than he would get in school. So I never I was exhausting for me, but I knew he needed that. And I knew the teachers wouldn't be able to provide him with this one-on-one that he needed. So I made sure that he got everything. So everything that he's learning was double reinforced at home. He needed Osiris to be there for things like the math. He was there. So we would never give up on him. And we were always researching on new techniques for Aiden, because we're not taking his diagnosis as the end all. We always have hope that things can get a little better and better and better and better, particularly in a child when their brain is still developing. So, I do still have my rough days where, I want to cry and why me? Why us? You get envious of other, I'm only human, so you get kind of envious, like, wow, she has a healthy child, no issues, and my child has this. I have to worry about this. I have to worry about that. I can't go out in the sun. I can't do certain things. And it's just normal. And I do have those days. I'm not going to lie. But God always gives me these little moments of joy. The good days that we have with him. And he's doing better than even some kids without epilepsy. So I have to be grateful for that as well, because no one's life is perfect. No one has it all. People try to post, I have it all. It's not true. Everyone's life has struggles. Everyone's life has hardships. It's just basically how we deal with them. So with Aiden, we try our best every day to make him live his best life. Some people would say, why are you taking him? Why is he riding a scooter? Why is he riding a bike? Why is he going swimming? He has epilepsy. We're like, that's not going to stop us. He has to do everything. He has to be exposed to everything. He has to live, like I said, his best life. There were days where I thought, maybe he wasn't going to make it. There were days that he wasn't going to live. It was like, we go through all this, but I know now, like, things are going to be okay. I just have a very sense of peace and a sense of gratitude that, things are going to be okay because he made it this far. And my husband and I were just his biggest advocates. There are days where we do feel like we're just fighting and fighting every day. Is something that we have to advocate for him. Whether him getting his therapy, whether him getting his meds, where we're standing up for him. Every day we're fighting for something, and it can be exhausting, but it's all worth it. So that's my take home, is that you always have to fight for your kid and never give up, and just keep researching and researching until you find something. And don't be afraid to try different things with your kid that may be unconventional, because you never know, it may work for them. So, that is it for what I have to say in terms of how I feel as a mom, having a child with a severe diagnosis and disability. Is that, yes, some days are not hard, some days are great, and some days are not great. But also what Osiris taught me was that sometimes you have to take the good days and make them really, really good and enjoy them. And then just accept the bad days, because there are going to be some bad days. But that is it for me expressing myself as a mom. It's not easy. It definitely isn't easy, especially if you're working full time and trying to juggle everything. But that is it. The next episode, Osiris and I are going to come back together, which is nice, because I miss him. So we're going to come and kind of reflect on what we each said in our individual podcasts, and kind of do a compare and contrast, because I'm sure there are some things that he's surprised that I said, and I'm surprised that he said, but all good things. So that is it for me. I'm signing off. I hope everyone is having a great week. And if not, like we always say, this is just temporary. Ciao. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love and Cannabis. I'm Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we're the proud parents of Aiden.
Be strong
and stay empowered.